What's up, everybody? Marhan13 here. Now then. Oh, wait, nope, wrong one. What's up, everybody? Marhan13 here. I'm being a little quiet, as well, you can see it's 11 o'clock at night. People are asleep. Can't be that loud. Now then, I know this is probably getting tired of me explaining why I haven't been recording. And, some people are staying here at the house, and which means I have less time to myself to basically record. That's the whole gist. Some of my dad's friends are staying over here, and well, her and her kids are staying over here, and I just don't have enough time because, well, just don't have time to record because I'm being annoyed at in the day by children. But all right, let's get on with the video. So, where we last left off was Ochako by Izuku's bedside with him in a coma. Now then, a couple of days have passed with Class 1A's morality being down somewhat. Now then, some of the ones that were in the fight with Metal were questioned by the police, obviously. Although, people like Akatsuki, Shoto, Ejiro, they're not taking it too well on as well. If they had just moved faster or just a little bit stronger, they could have helped more, and Zuko wouldn't have had to tap into whatever format he did use, and he also wouldn't be in a coma right now in the hospital. So, and the rest of Class 1A are kind of cursing the fact that they're so weak compared to, like, the Chaos Squad? Let's call it the Chaos Squad, that would be funny. So yeah, they're just, just kind of cursing at their own strength and not being strong as the Chaos Squad, Since, again, Izuku, a nice friend to most of the people in the class, is currently in a coma fighting for his life after being nearly murdered by a metal copy of him. And this is also after he was quite literally thrown through the window of their school, and they just sat there and watched as he was unconscious for a quick few minutes, along with bleeding out. So yeah, even Aizawa blames himself as a teacher. It's his responsibility to protect his students, and he couldn't protect Izuku enough, and again, coma, hospital, fighting for his life. So, yeah, morality's down for the class for a little bit, but mainly the Chaos Gang, especially Ochako and Katsuki Ochako, Katsuki, and Tinya are the ones that are the most upset about this, as for Katsuki and Tinya, Izuku's their best friend. Ochako, I don't feel like we need to go over the whole the feelings they have for each other a bit on this one. So, yeah, basically the school day goes on. It's basically a little bit dull and bleak. With Aizawa at the end of the day revealing that in a couple of days, they're gonna go to a training camp. And with this, right before Ochako's ready to walk out the room, Momo comes up to her, basically telling her that she's seen how she's filled, and telling her that, while also handing her a ticket saying that in a couple of days, since they have at least about a week or two before they have to go to the camp, she hands him, excuse me, I drunk an orange pop before this. She hands Ochako a ticket saying that it's about the Ivo Expo. And Ochako knows what she's talking about, as Izuku would tell her about it. And about two people that lived on the expo, being Melissa Shield and her father, David Shield. As well, Izuku would know them from being All Might's adopted son in this timeline. Also from him marrying his mom. I feel like David would be at All Might's wedding and would bring Melissa. So, yes, they know each other. And so Ochako knows about it, and saying how she'll think about it. As well, she's given a few days. With Momo telling her that they have a few days, that they're leaving on about a Friday. And thus, with that, Ochako makes her way to the hospital, getting up to room 512, where Izuku's being held at. And once she gets there, she sees All Might and Inko there, sitting. with her telling the two hello, with them welcoming Ochako to sit down by her, basically just letting her basically just say what she feels like, how she feels horrible that Asuka was like this, and that she can tell that the entire class does as well, and it's just been kind of a really depressing week for all of them. With Inko telling Ochako she knows exactly what she feels, seeing her son like this is horrible. With her giving Ochako a quick hug to just to comfort her, basically. While All Might is just looking here, while Toshinori is just holding Izuku's hand, feeling absolutely terrible that because of the fact that his 3 hours were up, he couldn't protect his son. And now he's like this, broken, battered, bruised, a coma, fighting for his life. It's not pretty. Now then, 2 days pass, and it's about a couple of days pass, and now it's Thursday. Ochako is making her way up to the hospital again, getting to room 512. And when she enters, she's greeted by a pleasant surprise. Zuko is sitting up. He looks confused on where he is, but he's sitting up. He's awake. Ochako immediately drops the flowers that she had in her hand, rushing to Asuku's side and giving him a tight but not so tight hug, while also crying. Her hugging him and telling him how she thought he would never wake up, that he could have died. Basically breaking it down. Now then, Zuko did just wake up barely a minute ago, but he knows he needs some comforter. So he wraps her arms around her, and while his voice is raspy when he tries to talk, it's a little raspy, but he's able to say that it's okay and he's alive. After a couple more minutes of Ochako just holding him, she realized she has to call Inko and Tosh, Mr. and Mrs. Midoriya, basically, along with informing the staff. And before she can walk out, Izuku grabs her hand and telling her that thank you for visiting all these days. With Ochako just giving him a small smile before kissing him on the cheek and running out to go tell some nurses that Izuku's awake. Now then, a couple hours after, Inko and All Might are there, Katsuki, Mitsuki, Marsu, Shoto, basically, like everyone really, really close. Now then, Zuko has done most of his healing, as he's not in bandages or anymore, but he's still kind of, basically he gets to go, basically the only reason he was still kept in the hospital is because of the fact that he was a coma and could die. And so with this, Zuko's able to go home this Friday. Now then, Zuko's kind of a bit rusty in his movement, as well he's been out for a week straight. He's a little miffed that he's been out that long, but all in all, okay. Now then, with this, eventually when they get home, All Might does tell Inko about the tickets he got. Saying that he got 2, and he wasn't going to bring up because Izuku was still unconscious, but now that he's awake, he wanted to know if he could bring Izuku, and that, yes, he knows he just got out the hospital, but he feels like a breath of fresh air would do the boy good, and the fact that he's already being able to move at mostly 100%, he'll just make sure that he stays safe, and plus, he knows that Izuku would definitely want to see Melissa and David again. Now then, Inko was a little slightly miffed at her husband, but all in all, is okay with letting him take Izuku. And so with that, Izuku packs up his stuff, and they get ready and will fly to the expo and flying to the island. When they land down, Izuku isn't in his hero costume, it was also just more in a casual, whereas, again, his bones are still in pain. So, yeah. With that, Zuko and Zuko and All Might make their way over. Well, Zuko and All Might make their way over, eventually meeting Melissa. Now and then, the first thing Melissa does, instead of hugging All Might, is hugging Zuko to be being gentle with it, though. As well, I'm pretty sure All Might would tell David that Zuko's in a coma, and he would relay the message to Melissa. Basically, with Melissa telling him how scared she was, and that Zuko's basically her cousin, and not the pull. And basically, she wants to know like what happened from Zuko. And so on their way walking, Zuko explains. Now then, yes, eventually they get to Melissa's lab. Zuko's saying that he's missed being, and that it's been about 2 years since he's been here, and apologizing for it. With Melissa giving Zuko the full gauntlet, saying that she was originally gonna make something a full body for him, but with his quirk up here manifesting all of a sudden, she was gonna give it to him earlier, but with his quirk manifesting all of a sudden, she had to adjust it a bit, just tweak it up. And with that, we get to All Might and David, who have the same conversation about All Might going weaker and weaker, along with the conversation bring up Zuko as well, asking how he is and exactly what was that thing that attacked him. Again, basically Melissa and David get to spill on Metal Sonic, saying that robotic tongue twister, robotic monstrosity is, hold on, better, that's way better. Basically saying that robotic monstrosity is been destroyed permanently. Hopefully, they think, hold on. But yeah. So yeah, robotic monstrosity destroyed, stuff like that. Now then, things go over well just a little bit until we get to the dance part. With Zuko seeing Ochako in her dress and telling her how amazing she looks. Basically, how pretty she looks. Ochako doesn't freak out all that much, and she's used to compliments from Zuko after years of knowing him. And along with the fact that things between them aren't complicated here. They both know how they feel here, and they both know how they feel, and that's about that. So, yeah. Now then, things go normal to canon, yada yada yada. Metal Man pops up, blah 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 blah, spits his bullshit, you know how this goes. Spits his bullshit, captures All Might. The students are on the upper floor. Now then, this brings some problems as the Zuko still isn't at full on 100%. Again, getting his ass kicked hurt. But yeah. So with that being said, they have to make their way up normally with Zuko not being able to just run up. Now then, they have things going similar to canon here until eventually they get to the robots where Zuko effortlessly rips them apart. While he's not at full strength yet, a spin dash would still destroy something like this. So yeah. They're still kind of overwhelmed though, so Kaminari still has to, zap shit up, So with that being said, things go on normally here. Things go on normally here. Now then, we switch to Edgero and Katsuki walking around. They basically dispatch the two other villains quickly as shit, no issues whatsoever. And while walking where they meet up with Shoto, this is when Shoto pops up with them, Then they eventually meet up with the group. Well, eventually meet up with the main group, which, during this point, Ichiro asked Katsuki a question he's been meaning to ask him since they were kids. Why hasn't Katsuki ever shown his back to about any of them since they only met Katsuki when he was 13, and he's never shown his back to any of them, not even Mina. But Katsuki explaining that basically there's some sort of tech. Basically, while they're walking to the group, Israel asks this question. since he's always been curious about it and thinks that now might just be the time to ask. And so Katsuki takes a deep sigh and tells him that basically when his grandfather experimented on him, he left a mark on his back. And more like a tattoo, if anything. He doesn't know what it reads or says, but he likes keeping it hidden since, well, he can't remember anything on the arc. Which makes the mood somber for them until they meet up with the OG group and eventually get up. Now then, when they get to Metal Man, there's the entire group here this time, not just Deku and Melissa. Since, again, we have Katsuki who can teleport people and still have full-on strength compared to Izuku, so yeah, the entire group gets here. They deal with the robots relatively easy, and time to kick some ass, basically. Now then, Metal Man still puts on the helmet power ratio, helmet power upper. I don't remember what it's called. Although, unfortunately, in this timeline, for everyone else, David ended up. This thing wasn't just made to power up quirks. It was also made to give someone a boost thanks to chaos energy. Basically, Zuko remembers something that All Might had him save a chaos emerald to David. And then he realizes that that thing must have had, well, chaos energy put into it. Although it's too late when he puts it on, as he immediately destroys the top half of the building, basically turning into a metal monster of sorts. And now then, things are going somewhat normal here. Although eventually, basically he brings down some of the classmates, i.e. by, since he's like a metal monstrosity here compared to like the original, basically him slamming his hands in the ground send up multiple spikes of metal that catches some of the slower ones of the class. Now then, things go this way until All Might gets here, which leads to, Jesus, this movie is so hard to actually make a story for without it make sense. Basically, double Detroit smash still happens in this timeline. I'm gonna be honest, this one was just like a quickie for, and things still end the same as the movie. And with that, they go back and get ready for the training camp arc. Now then, I know, basically, I'm gonna be honest. Making this movie make sense for the people that, like, how strong they are. Like, specifically this movie, not Two Heroes or... Shit, what was... not the movie with 9 or, like, anyone else. It's just, like, this movie specifically for me is, like, a little bit difficult to, make it make sense for how strong the characters are in this timeline. Which that may say something about me as a creator for this movie. But, like, still, I'm gonna be honest, this movie was just because I realized that I had to do it. Like, mainly for the My Hero first movie here, Two Heroes. Yeah, no, this one is Two Heroes. For this movie, I'm gonna be honest, I just make it so it could fit in the timeline, since it's canon in the timeline, so I have to make it canon and fit in my timelines. But probably gonna get something tomorrow. Hopefully, I have a eye doctor appointment tomorrow. Gotta get some more glasses. I lost my pair. So hopefully I can get a video out for, like, depending on what the wheel spins on. But, with that being said, Mario 13 out.